Good evening, everyone. This meeting of the Hingham School Committee is called to order. It is 6 o'clock on June 15th, 2026. I'm just going to read a brief statement. This meeting is being held remotely or in person as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025 and all other applicable laws temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Hingham in accordance with the open meeting law. If any participant wishes to record this meeting, please notify the chair at the start of this meeting in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, so that the chair may inform all other participants of said recording. Is there anyone else recording other than Harbor Media? Please let me know. I see none. So with that, we will go into our first order of business, which is to enter into executive session, and then we will reconvene to the public in open session at 6:30. So may I have a motion, please?
I will make a motion to adjourn to executive session, not to return to open session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, for the purposes of to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation and act as appropriate in an open meeting, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. 2, to discuss complaints or charges brought against a public officer, open meeting law complaint, and complaint against school committee chair and vice chair filed by Kay Carley. And 3, to approve minutes of the school committee executive session held on June 1st, 2026, should the chair so declare.
I so declare.
Second.
All right, all those in favor by roll call vote? Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. We will resume at 6:30. Thank you, everyone. What's that? Everyone's set?
Recording in progress.
Welcome back, everyone. We're returning from executive session to open session. It is 6:38. Tonight, I am joined by my fellow school committee members, Nina Villanova, Matt Cosman, Tamila Dempsey, Carrie Nee, Allie Anderson, and I am Jen Benham. And Tom Mooney should be joining us shortly on Zoom. Moving on to our first order of business tonight is approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes. First set is from June 1st, 2026. Is there any discussion on the June 1st minutes? Or are we all set with them? All right. Given that, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of the school committee meeting held on June 1st, 2026.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Minutes are approved. The next set of minutes is the Educational Programming Subcommittee minutes from May 6, 2026. So this includes Tim, Carrie, and John to approve these minutes. Do you have any discussion or
No,
clarification on
it's
those?
unusual to approve them in the full committee, but the subcommittee's not going to meet probably until the fall, so we wanted to get these minutes out to the public sooner than that, so.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So I will take a motion to approve those minutes.
Take this motion.
I move to accept the minutes for the Educational Programming Subcommittee from May 6, 2026.
I'll second.
All right.
All in
So
favor?
Aye.
Carrie and I would be the only ones voting on it because we were the subcommittee members.
thank you. All right. So those minutes are approved. Next up is item 5, which is our superintendent's report. I will pass this on over to Superintendent Rockets.
Terrific. Well, this evening we have a longer than usual superintendent's report because I'm joined this evening by some special guest stars. So we have some all-star students from our grade 8 at the middle school, and we're also joined by some of our retirees who will be honoring this evening. And so I'll first kick off with just a few updates from across town. So wanted to acknowledge that last week we hosted our annual grade 3 mock town meeting in which students from East, Foster, Plymouth River, and South gathered at our historic Old Ship Church. to engage in the annual grade 3 mock town meeting, and students practiced civics engagement by drafting and presenting warrant articles on topics of interest, such as access to bike trails. The need for increased recess time was a popular one, the need for additional traffic lights in town, and just wanted to thank members of the school committee and other civic leaders, including Senator Patrick O'Connor, Representative Joan Moschino, and Town Moderator Michael Puzo for joining us. And of course, a special thanks go to Bev Vernon and Mary Eastwood and our grade 3 teachers for organizing the event and preparing students. Next up, wanted to thank members of Hingham Cares, who again this year presented a wonderful and enriching day at Hingham Middle School to educate our students on the dangers of drugs and alcohol. Through powerful student presentations on the physical, social, and emotional impact of substance abuse, to guest speakers from Hingham High School's SAD program, our middle school students were given the opportunity to hear about how to stay safe and healthy as we prepare for our summer break. Next up, we'd like to honor our drama students who recently at the METG Musical Theater Awards, we had several nominations and awards, including the HMS production of Newsies, which was nominated for Best Costume Design and also won an award for Best Sound Design. We also had a surprise appearance by Vivian Bernard, whose Newsies photo was the star of the program cover at the statewide award event. And also wanted to acknowledge high school student Graham Baker from the HHS drama crew, who was one of the few nominees for Best Performer in a lead male role for his role as the man in the chair at the Drowsy Chaperone production earlier this year. So Graham performed 2 medleys at the awards show to showcase his exemplary musical theater skills. Congratulations to Graham, and congratulations to our middle school students who won the award as well. And finally, much to celebrate in athletics. So in our spring athletic season wrap-up, wanted to acknowledge that we had 572 student athletes participating in interscholastic sports, which contributed to an impressive 87% overall student participation rate for the 25-26 school year. And our athletic programs enjoyed significant competitive success, with 5 teams capturing league championships, and that included boys lacrosse, girls lacrosse, boys track and field, girls golf, and rugby. And in addition, 14 teams qualified for state tournament competition, demonstrating the depth and strength of our programs. Several teams advanced deep into postseason play, highlighted by girls lacrosse and girls tennis, both of whom reached the Division II Final Four. And equally noteworthy were the exemplary sportsmanship displayed by our student athletes throughout the season. We had 6 teams who were recognized for league sportsmanship awards. That included boys tennis, boys track and field, girls track and field, softball, boys lacrosse, and girls lacrosse. So wanted to thank our coaches and athletic staff, and just wanted to say that we honor the character, integrity, and leadership of our athletics and our students. So that is our superintendent's report. And now I'd like to welcome this evening some of our retirees who were able to join us. This evening, we'll be recognizing some members of Unit A, which is our educators, and also some members of our Unit B, our paraeducators. Later this summer, we'll also recognize some of our other staff people from our food services department, our transportation department, and other departments. So 2 of our retirees are here this evening, and I have worked very closely with each of them, so this is a particularly special recognition this evening. I'd first like to acknowledge Kathy Joyce, who is here this evening. And Kathy joined the Hingham Public Schools in 2011 as a grade 4 teacher at East Elementary School, bringing with her prior experience from Chapman Middle School in Weymouth. Throughout her career in Hingham, Kathy taught both grade 4 and grade 5 and inspired countless students through her enthusiasm for learning, particularly in science and social studies, where she brought her lessons to life through meaningful real-world connection, authentic projects, and a focus on developing practical life skills. I had the pleasure of working closely with Kathy in my former role as an elementary science specialist and witnessed firsthand her energy, creativity, and passion that she brought to her classroom every day. I also wanted to note her particular love of the writing process, something that she very much imparted to her students. And also wanted to note that she was a familiar and enthusiastic presence on many sidelines across town. She was known for going to cheer on her students at athletic events and extracurricular activities after school. And I know that she maintains relationships with many students long after they left her classroom. I also wanted to acknowledge that Kathy is not only a dedicated educator, but was also a Hingham parent of 2 children who went through our schools, and Kathy's made a lasting impact on our school community. So Kathy, would you like to come up and make any words at all? Just a word or two, if you'd like it.
I was looking to see if any of my former students were here,
Yep.
but I don't see anyone that at least that I recognize. You're all so grown up. Just wanted to say thank you, Katie. You are doing a phenomenal job, and we love teaching here so much, and a lot of it is because of you and all the things that you've done for us on your way to where you're sitting right now. It's been a phenomenal 20 years, and I couldn't be happier that I made the decision to become a teacher. So thank you for acknowledging us. We really appreciate it. And I hope that I'll see everyone around town.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is my colleague, Paul Donovan. Paul Donovan has been with the Hingham Public Schools since 1997. Over the years, he has been a steady, calming presence for the special education department and has quietly led by example through consistent dedication to students. Paul refused to let any of his students fall through the cracks and patiently work with students to get them to graduation. Paul has been a supportive mentor to new teachers and, in fact, has mentored many members of our current high school special education department, both formally and informally. Paul has supported countless students in strategies for learning classes, was a skilled practitioner of literacy instruction, and also was an accomplished co-teacher, partnering with general education teachers to support an inclusive environment. Beyond the school day, and this is where I often connected with Paul, he is a well-known cook and baker, and I particularly will miss our gardening discussions in the high school hallways. So Paul, thank you for all that you have done for students, and would you like to say a word or two?
I just want to say thank you. It was a nice place to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it. And so our school committee this evening has a couple of small tokens for both Kathy and for Paul. And I do also have a couple of other staff who weren't able to join us this evening to acknowledge. So I also wanted to acknowledge Erin O'Brien, one of our school counselors who's been with the Hingham schools since 1996, first as a business teacher, which I did not realize until I went into her file, and then as a school counselor. She's been a tireless advocate for her students. Erin is often the busiest place in the school in the morning, and full of students seeking out her advice and support. Erin had a constant stream of students in and out of her office, and that is proof that she earned trust and the deep impact that she made every single day. For many years, Erin facilitated the counseling department's peer tutoring program, in which she empowered students to become mentors, advocates, and supports for each other. As a class advisor and advisor to the ADL World of Difference program, Erin's impact has been felt in every corner of Hingham High. So grateful to Erin for her service, and we will acknowledge her and her retirement. I would also like to acknowledge Bessie Orcutt, who is a middle school teacher, but began her career in HBS in 1996 as a paraeducator, and she actually worked with me in my middle school science class many years ago. She was then hired as a grade 6 social studies teacher at the middle school in 2005. And has introduced countless young people to the ancient world through project-based learning. Betsy has been an integral part of the HMS community as an extracurricular coach for the History Hunter Club, and was also involved in the famous grade 6 soccer tournament. She's known for focusing on students' individual learning styles to meet student needs within her classroom. So again, we acknowledge and celebrate Betsy in her retirement. And last but not least, we actually have 2 paraeducators from the high school who will be retiring this year. Wanted to thank Joyce Ebby for her work in the high school post program, which is our post-grad program. Joyce is a kind and patient presence in the classroom. She's helped prepare her students for life beyond the high school. In addition to her work in the classroom, Joyce has been a strong advocate for inclusion and acceptance through her role as a coach of the Hingham Unified Athletics Program, which began under her leadership and has now expanded to include sports not only at the high school but also at the middle school. I enjoyed seeing Joyce and her students each week when they joined us at central office to work on their vocational skills. And again, we wish Joyce all the best. And finally, we'd like to acknowledge Ginny Virginia Payne, who has served as a paraeducator at Hingham High School since 2015 and has worked in inclusive settings throughout the high school. I personally enjoyed working with Ginny during my years as a high school science teacher when Ginny supported students in my classroom. And Jenny was not only a dedicated paraeducator, but she was also a Hingham parent, and she will, again, leave a lasting impact on our school community. So I'd like to give one last round of applause for all of our educators this evening. Last but certainly not least, we have brought down the average age of our usual school committee meetings by decades. So thank you to our middle school students for joining us this evening. And I'd like to welcome grade 8 teacher Mark McCullough from our social studies department, who is here to tell us about a terrific adventure that our middle school students had to the State House, where they represented us at the annual civics showcase. So thank you, Mr. McCullough and students.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to be very brief because these guys are awesome and you should spend more time with them. When the state of Massachusetts decided that 8th grade should be a civics-based program, they created in the requirements a project which the students are to take on their own, choose, and develop the entire concept on their own. And over the years, we've had things ranging from a junior ROTC program to the ever repeated, we need turf fields, to AC at the high school. And this year, we have 3 unique, never before seen projects. Each of these represent one of the teachers, Mr. Lockheim, Mr. Florence, and myself are the 3 teachers in the 8th grade. Each one of us is represented here, and each of these projects was chosen by the students themselves. We did not have input. So this was something that they wanted to work on, and these, there were 11 originally, these 9 folks all volunteered to come after school for a couple of days. They were bribed with snacks, but they came after school. They worked really hard to build these in a very short amount of time. And then when we went into the Edward M. Kennedy Senate building last Friday, we were the first tables anybody saw when they walked in. So no pressure. You walked in the building, there they were. And after interacting with some of their peers to kind of get their feet wet with the discussion, they were then met with 4 different community organizers who talked to them for at least 10 to 12 minutes each. No rest for the weary. It just rotated to other people. And then they had an open forum, almost like a trade show. So each of these folks really worked hard to be here. They've taken a lot of pride in what they've done. And I'm looking forward to you hearing what they came up with, because this was their work. It was not ours. We're very fortunate that with Mr. Smith's support, we're going to be able to brag about these kids more this Thursday. And you are all welcome to visit the school for our annual Civics Day. We'll be done by about 11:15, starts right around 8:30, 8:45. And you get to see all of the projects, all of the kids. So if you're available, come on by the middle school and enjoy it. So I'm going to have the kids go to their boards, and we'll just introduce the projects as we go. Does anybody have any questions for me before we move on? Hi, guys. Come on up. Say it again, please. Okay, so introduce yourselves. Tell them what you worked on and what happened Friday.
Hi, I'm Evie Scoville.
I'm Emma Goulet.
I'm Ellie Flaherty. So our civics action project was assessment policy review. And basically what this meant was we realized that a lot of students have a lot of test overload in one day, and they often get super stressed, as you can see by some of these charts that show like they're pretty stressed. And so we just wanted to make sure that we wanted to find a solution to like limit this overload. So we created a calendar where teachers could input their info so they would have less tests in one day. And then we also wanted to clarify what a test meant. So we wanted to update the handbook to include debates, seminars, DBQs, projects, and just other assessments that might need the same amount of preparation as a test would.
So we researched this in multiple ways. We emailed our superintendent, our assistant superintendent, our vice principal, and our principal. We received a lot of good feedback that helped us edit and work our calendar so that it was a lot easier for the teachers and the students to use. We also surveyed a lot of our peers and our teachers. Our teachers said that 100% of them would like to use a Google Doc calendar instead of a Google Calendar to organize the tests, which really helped us carry this out.
As Emma mentioned, we surveyed our teachers and our students, and an overwhelming majority, they said that we having 2 or more tests on the same day caused extreme anxiety for them, and it was hard to study all of them the day before. So we created this calendar by using a Google Doc, and we surveyed people to see the results, how this would help and affect the students and the teachers. And the actions we took, we plan to have the calendar in place by the end of this year and the beginning of next year, and we hope the calendar can be implemented into the schedule of the middle school and the high school.
And then another thing we did was we also, to continue into the future, we actually created a sample calendar. Here's September where teachers could use. So we actually created the calendar, and then we wanted to set it up so that other kids from next year, responsible volunteers, that are 7th graders, could set it up so they could use it for the next year and then in the future. And they would just choose a few kids each year. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm Holly Segev.
And I'm Logan Kellicott. A summary of what we did for our 8th grade civics project was to try to implement a flex block into the Hingham Middle School schedule, because we realized most people need extra time in a day to either catch up on a test or they don't understand something as well. Although most people can't spend as much time a day because of after school activities, implementing flex block would be a period of time where you could where you could talk to a teacher about a lesson, go into a deeper elective, or finish homework. It might replace a study, but it would be able for students to have more time with stuff they need.
To learn more about this topic, we split into participatory action research groups. We talked to a lot of community experts, like some people here, as well as outside people like the principal of Scituate High School. We talked to legislators and to learn more about how this would integrate into our system. And we had also surveyed the students and the teachers, and we felt like some of them weren't fully sure about what it was, but most students, about 87%, said that this would be something they would want to integrate. And teachers said that a majority of them would also want to dive deeper into this idea. And then for research, we started to research a lot of different. So there was a lot of pros and cons, and one of the main cons was that there would be kind of chaos with the students not knowing where to go and the teachers not knowing where the students are. So we found different softwares like Leap Learning, MyFlex Learning, and Securely Flex that could be used to track where the students went during the flex block.
Going in the foreign community experts, talking with other schools like Mark Langer, the principal of Scituate High School. He already had a flex block in his system right now, which helped us dive deeper on how it affects his students. And he said it positively affects them. And that also connects on the research where we did pros and benefits, but also cons, but figured solutions to those, because there's multiple cons that could be effects, such as budgeting or where a student would go. But as Holly mentioned, there's programs like Securely Flex and MyFlex, and and also like a productivity gaps. As Mark Lauren was talking about, students under a certain grade cannot have to do something during a flex block, and they cannot be able to do.
So then to take action for our project, we completed all of this research and then started to create a formal proposal to send to our principal, Mr. Smith. And we sent that and he expressed his interest as well. So we're really looking forward to further diving into this project as something we can integrate into our schedule.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Finn Murray.
I'm Ben Taylor.
I'm Jane Gibney.
I'm Kiara Parikh, and our topic was low voter turnout in Hingham. We chose this topic because we've noticed over the past years, the amount of voters in Hingham has been decreasing, and it's not only like our town's problem, it's also like a nationwide problem.
And then some action that you guys have taken is you guys have put signs on roads and then posted information on the town website, on social media, and then on the Hingham Anchor, so the local newspaper. And then Mr. Smith actually did implement a homework-free night the day of the town meeting to encourage more people to go.
So we made some surveys and sent them out to parents about voting in town meetings. And the questions were, do you go to town meeting regularly? And a large amount of people said no, 71% people said no. And we asked them if they vote for more than just the presidential election, and 14% said no, 35.7% said sometimes, and 50% of people said yes. And then we asked if you don't, why do you not vote in more elections? And the majority of people said, I do not know what I'm voting for. And we also asked them if not, what would make you more willing to go to town meeting? And a really large amount of people said online availability. And then we asked on election days, what time is voting the most convenient for you? And most people said on weekends, but also people said in mornings instead of night.
We also sent out emails and got responses from Town Clerk Carol Falvey and Board of Selectmen Liz Klein. They shared their opinions on how they're trying to improve low voter turnout in the town.
And then what we think would happen next is, I don't know if this would be really hard, but have online voting. I just think it would be helpful. And then, do you guys do mail-in ballots? Yeah, I think if more people did that, I also think that would help.
And so we also contacted a town near us, Situate, and they said that they're also having similar issues, and they're also trying to figure out online availability. So according to our survey, a lot of parents aren't available on weekdays. So we think maybe if we change the meeting dates to weekends, maybe more people will be able to come. And yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
Terrific.
You guys have any questions for them?
I have one. It's really well done, everyone. This is really great to see. For this last group, have you shared the results of the survey with, say, the select board?
No.
If you would, I think that'd be great because
It will happen. It hasn't happened yet.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah.
I also think the anchor might be interested in your results too.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
This is a great project.
All three of them.
Thank you.
Students, thank you. You represented us very well at the State Civics Forum, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you again on Thursday at the Civics Showcase at the middle school. So we have many other terrific projects to showcase on Thursday. But again, really great job representing yourself, your school, and your terrific history teachers. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
And students, you are welcome to stay for our 2 or 3 hour agenda, but you are also welcome to get home, get some homework done, and enjoy the evening. Thanks for coming.
Hopefully we'll see you on Thursday.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you. Bye.
That's great.
That's good. All right, moving on to, we have item 6, which is communications. 6.1, communications received by the superintendent. Do you have any communications to report? Student communications we will pass over, and for other communications by the committee, I will start. I have a list here, so I'm going to read off. So I received 2 communications from a resident, Karen Carley, on June 1st regarding meeting materials and open meeting law concern. I also received an additional 2 correspondences from Ms. Carley on June 2nd regarding meeting materials, transparency, meeting minutes, and open meeting law concerns. These correspondences were distributed to all members of the committee. I also received 1 correspondence on June 3rd regarding open meeting law concern from Ms. Carley, the DESI presentation from May 1st, and meeting minutes. Those correspondences were also distributed to all members of the committee. The committee also received an open meeting law complaint from Ms. Carley on June 4th, which appears as a separate agenda item later this evening. And is there anyone else in the committee that has received any other communications separate from the ones I've just mentioned? No? Okay, thank you. All right, so moving on, we have unfinished business to take care of. We have a list of policies, 5 policies. This is our second read, so I will pass it over to the chair, Allie Anderson, to go over those.
Thank you. So as Jen mentioned, this is the second read of these policies. They are all related to wellness and health for our students. The first one is the wellness policy, which is a complete rewrite. We do review this policy every 3 years. We were up for a review, but in light of there being a lot of regulation change and suggestions from DESI and MASC, working with Rebecca Deaton, our nurse manager, she took the lead on completely rewriting this, and we have the full policy in your packet if there are any questions. Okay, do you want me to make motions one by one or go through all of them?
We can do, are there any questions on all of them?
Okay.
We'll start. Well, does anyone have any questions on the first one, the wellness policy?
Nope. Okay.
The next one.
And then the next one is JLCB, immunization of students. This had several updates and a suggestion from the committee last time, which has been added in regards to religious exemptions and beliefs. So we've added the word sincere religious beliefs just to match Mass General Law. So this is that revised version.
Any questions? I know we had a lot of questions last week.
Yeah. Okay, then moving right along, the next one is related to first aid. Okay.
It looked like John
Oh,
popped
yep,
up
John.
and popped back down. So
Okay. It is EBB, first aid, and again, just a few updates related to changes in regulations in Mass General Law and in regards to how we contact parents or guardians.
Any questions? Okay.
Nope. The fourth and fifth one are related to administering medication. JLCD, administering medicines to students. This is a complete rewrite. Again, working with Rebecca Deaton, our nurse manager, just to update it to follow Mass General Law and MASC recommendations.
Questions? Is this the one that John had the comment on?
He was trying to do a thumbs up.
We added, okay.
I think that was the immunization.
And we added in, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That was added in.
And then the final policy is JLCDC, self-administration and self-carry of medications, which this is a completely new policy. We don't currently have this one, so it would be in addition to our policy manual.
Any questions? Okay. We will do motions for each one.
Okay, perfect. I will start with ADF. I will make a motion to approve policy ADF, wellness.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Oh, hold on.
We do have to
Rewind.
Oh, I do.
We need to do roll call. So roll call vote. We'll start with John.
Aye.
Nina.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
I will make a motion to approve policy JLCB, immunizations of students.
A second?
Second. All those in favor by roll call vote. John.
Aye.
Nina.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
I will make a motion to approve policy EBB, first aid.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. John.
Aye.
Nina.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
I will make a motion to approve the rewrite of policy JLCD, administering medicines to students.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. John.
Aye.
Nina.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
And then finally, I will make a motion to approve the new policy JLCDC, self-administration and self-carry of medications.
Second.
All those in favor, roll call vote. John.
Aye.
Nina.
Aye.
Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. All those policies have passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have new business. This next item on the agenda is a discussion of an open meeting law complaint received by the full committee from Kay Carley on June 4th, 2026, alleging that the approved minutes of the May 11th, 2026 meeting are incomplete and inaccurate with respect to agenda items 6.5, which was to receive a report of special education entry findings, and 6.6, which was to discuss special education administration restructuring. As chair, I have reviewed the complaint, the approved minutes from May 11th, the May 11th agenda, and the recording of that meeting in preparation for tonight's discussion. The complaint asserts that the minutes do not adequately reflect the special education entry findings, presentation, and the discussion regarding special education administration restructuring. Based on my personal review of the recording, administration presented information regarding the special education entry findings, and during that presentation, explained special education administrative responsibilities and organizational structure. The superintendent also indicated during that presentation that the restructuring proposal will be revisited under agenda item 6.6. My further review indicates that the meeting proceeded to the next item of business without a separate introduction of agenda item 6.6. One of the requests contained in the complaint is whether these matters should be placed on a future agenda item for public discussion. For that limited purpose, before opening the matter for the committee discussion, I would ask the superintendent whether there is any new information, recommendation, or requested action by the committee regarding special education administration restructuring that has arisen since the May 11th presentation.
There's nothing new to add.
Thank you. The committee has not previously discussed this complaint. Consistent with open meeting law requirements, tonight's meeting is the committee's opportunity to review the concerns raised and determine whether any action regarding the May 11th minutes is appropriate. The purpose of tonight's discussion is to not revisit the underlying special education matters. Rather, our responsibility is to understand whether the approved minutes accurately and adequately reflect the proceedings of the May 11th meeting and whether any amendment to those meetings is warranted. So at this time, I will open up the discussion to the committee. Does anyone want to go first?
I'll start.
Okay.
So I wrote them.
And just a reminder, we're just discussing the minutes.
Themselves, yeah. So, under Mass General Law, the requirement for minutes is that it capture basically the essence of the committee's discussion, not everything that the administrators say. Sometimes those go in there for context, so because otherwise you wouldn't understand the discussion. We didn't discuss. No committee members discussed the restructuring of the special education department. It was part of Dr. Panarisi's presentation, but it's not something that we discussed at all. So that's why they're not, and that's not in the minutes. There were two comments that I didn't put in the minutes. Happy to amend it if the committee would like to. I had asked a question about a finding about outside agencies being invited to IEP meetings. And then Tim had made a comment talking about how how much improvement there'd been in the English language arts scores over the time with the new curriculum, and asking if we would see a similar improvement with the new math curriculum. If the committee would like to add those in, that was the extent of, there was no real deliberation, but that was the extent of the discussion, so.
Yeah, and that's my recollection as well, is there was no real deliberation. It was a very thorough presentation.
It was.
All the information was on the slides, and that presentation, that slide deck is on the school committee website under our packet information, so all that information is there for the public to see.
That's a good point, it is available.
It is available.
To see it.
And at the bottom of, and also note that at the bottom of all of our minutes, it is our best practice that we list all the items that are in our packet, which is then linked to, not actual linked, but it is coordinated with the entire packet that is on our website. So all that information is there. But I would agree with Carrie that it's not our practice, nor is it required, that we describe everything that is said in the presentation.
Right.
But the comments, I would be fine adding the comments in.
Yeah, they're not a transcript, it's just.
Exactly.
And additionally, Harbor Media is always recording our meetings and usually has them up very quickly after, if not within 48 hours.
Yeah, I'm prepared with that. Anyone else in the committee have any comments?
I'm supportive of adding the comments.
Okay. Tim, are you supportive of, Nanny, are you supportive of adding the comments?
I'm supportive of that, yeah.
Okay.
Especially the second one was a really good comment.
All right, I think we have consensus here.
Okay.
I will open it up to the public for questions. Does anyone from the public have any questions on this agenda item? I see none. And John, I would also just want to ask, since you're a committee member, are you okay adding those 2 comments to the minutes?
Yes, of course.
Great. Thank you, John. All right, so I think we have consensus that we will add those, amend the minutes from May 11th to add the 2 comments made by the committee members.
Okay. Do you want to just put it on the next agenda and I'll write it up and we can approve the amended minutes?
Amended minutes in.
I think we can do it now.
Okay.
Because the minutes are, the minutes are in our packet right now.
They are, okay.
They're under item 8.1. The minutes are in there. We are deliberating on making those changes to the minutes.
Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna put those changes in the packet so people can see them.
Do you want to read the 2
Yep.
comments for us? And then
Okay, so Carrie D. inquired about DESI's preliminary finding that HPS did not consistently invite outside agencies to IEP meetings at the secondary level, and asked about the plan to remedy this. She also noted that new software that the district planned to implement would likely help improve compliance with the special education laws and regulations and would be cost neutral. The second one is Tim Miller Dempsey noted the district's significant improvement in MCAS performance for students with disabilities following the new ELA curriculum, and inquired whether the district would see similar improvement in math following the adoption of the Bridges program.
Okay. All right. If everyone is in agreement of adding those 2 comments to the minutes, those minutes will be
Amended.
amended.
Okay.
So
Would you like me to make a motion?
I will take a motion on that.
Okay. I move that the school committee amend the approved May 11, 2026 minutes to reflect the school committee members' comments and questions.
I'll second.
All right, any more questions or comments? All right, I will do a roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Those minutes are amended. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Harry.
All right, moving up is 8.2, which is strategic plan update, and I will pass this over to Superintendent Roberts.
Terrific. Thank you, Jen. So as the committee is aware, we are now in the first year of a 3-year strategic plan. Many of you on the committee were involved last year in the development of the strategic plan, and part of our usual practice regarding strategic plans is to give regular updates to the school committee. I will say that this work represents a lot of work, collaborative work by our leadership team and staff, and it is a really gratifying process to go through at the end of the year and see the gains that have been made, and also look for any gaps of where we might not have made as much progress as we would have hoped. But again, it is a 3-year plan, and so the goal is to complete all elements of this plan by the end of a 3-year plan. And so I'll just ask that Sherry broadcast the slides so anyone at home can also see. So again, while Erica Pollard and I will be presenting this evening, wanted to stress again that this is the collaborative work by the full leadership team and all of our staff members who contributed. So thanks, Sherry. So first slide, just again, centers everyone on the strategic plan, which is publicly available on our website. And after the presentation this evening, we will add to our website the strategic plan update so we can memorialize the progress that's been made to date. And this mini poster here just summarizes our mission, our vision, core values, and our strategic focus areas, with the focus on cultivating an innovative, inclusive, and equitable learning environment, supporting all students' academic, social, and emotional growth. And so in our presentation this evening, we're going to walk you through each of the 5 focus areas. We'll talk you through our updates and provide some evidence for each of the standards. And then we will give a preview of our year 2 strategic priorities for the 26-27 school year. And so I anticipate that in any strategic plan that will be written, not only this round, but in future rounds, one of the evergreen goals of a strategic plan is building that culture of collaboration and community partnerships. And so on this standard, we first center on effective and efficient two-way communication. And again, this goal will never be done. So we'll continue to evolve how we communicate, how often we communicate, the modes in which we use to communicate. And so in order to inform the cadence, the frequency, the modes of communication, we do survey families. And so we did this year, as we have done in past years, conduct and complete a parent and caregiver communication survey. Some of the similar themes from our last survey that we did not too long ago, but a few shifts that I will articulate here. We are in the process of using that survey data to continue to refine our communication modes and pathways. Really made an effort this year to try to craft some distinct messages for some of our different stakeholder groups. Looking at the tools that we currently use, and then looking at not only kind of print distributions through newsletter and such, but also focusing on just being engaged and out and visible in the community. Thanks, Sherry. This next slide here, I want to thank Erica for her terrific work this year on some of our family engagement that we engaged in. So Erica, I'll let you take this one on.
So we started this goal with another survey, which is often a starting point for many of our goals, to determine what people's preferences were, particularly parents and caregivers, regarding program topics, formats, and venues. So we were able to use that information to get a sense of what it is that families and parents want to know about our school department. We, as a result, were able to run a series of caregiver conversations this year around 3 topics that were reflected in the survey. The first was about digital literacy, online safety, and AI. The second one was the parent version. A thank you to Vanessa Webb for her facilitation of a parent session on the high school swell program. And our third was an overview of social, emotional, and mental health supports that are available in our schools K through 12. So The group of people that came out and engaged were, I would say, small but mighty. There weren't, not an overwhelming turnout, but people who were really engaged and asked great questions and really were clearly interested in learning more about these topics. So I'm looking forward to continuing with that next year.
And I would just add that one goal we had set would be to try to partner with area communities. So we did have some limited progress on that this year. I will talk in a moment about our presentation by Dr. Lisa Demore. We invited other communities in to join us, and similarly went out into other communities ourselves just to sample some programming that's being done. But I do think that's an area that's ripe for additional work. And so that will be a year two goal. Next up, we have some of the community partnerships. I would say on the one hand, strengthening some of our existing partnerships and also forging some new ones with an emphasis on using those community partnerships to deepen our portrait of a learner skills, bringing in that real world connection for our students. This year, we sought to expand partnerships in support of community engagement opportunities for our postgraduate students, whether that be vocational learning or other opportunities to engage with the broader community. We have continued to expand and promote volunteer opportunities and have some exciting data to share on that this evening. Expanding our opportunities for parents and caregivers to volunteer and engage with the schools. I believe Tim might have said at one point that Hingham runs on volunteers in the same way that we might run on Duncan. Hingham absolutely runs on volunteers. And then expanded networking events for families. And so again, wanted to just give some color to some of the evidence that we have for our progress on communication. So I would say the core of our communication strategy with families are our newsletters. And in the survey that we did, families indicated that the principal newsletters are their go-to source because they're school specific, and so of most help to families. One challenge that we have is that we have so much going on in the broader community. The newsletters can get long. That's been a feedback that we've heard in the past. So trying to think of ways to really strip down to the school-based information to the extent that we can. We also do district newsletters that give a broader perspective on district initiatives, district happenings, and again, that was given a positive rating in terms of the information in there. I will say that for next year, I do think we'll need to increase the cadence of the district communications, given the number of big initiatives that we have going on, whether that be our building projects, negotiations that will be going on. And so, and having 2 town meetings next year definitely means double the amount of communication. So starting early and often with those district level communications. We do have very robust engagement with our social media, both on Facebook and Instagram. And I think I've noted in the past that we do have a generational trend in that the older parents like myself tend to trend towards Facebook. The younger parents tend to trend towards Instagram. So it's important that we maintain both platforms, but we have really terrific engagement in both of those platforms. This year, we did entirely more crisis communications than I would have planned. So my first year of the superintendency, I called 0 snow days, and this year I had the pleasure of calling not 1, but 5, and was very grateful for the tools that we have. So our Thrill Share messaging allowed us to get information out to families in multiple modes very quickly, and we did have some positive feedback on the timeliness and the responses to the snow day. So again, we hope not to use that too often, but we also did have other crisis communications, included evacuation of the Plymouth River School building and so on, and again, really leaned heavily into the tools that we had at our disposal.
I love the text messages.
Yes, yeah. Also have a project that is underway. So in the last round of communication surveys that we did in our last strategic plan, kind of cleaning up and streamlining the website was a goal. We've made some progress there in that our new website is much cleaner than the prior one. But in the same way that our district newsletters and principal newsletters, there's just so much information, despite the efforts to streamline. The community in our survey did ask that we continue to find ways to streamline that. And so that will be a project this summer. In addition to just the overall look and feel of the website, there is a federal ADA web compliance initiative that's underway. And so I'm grateful to our communications expert, Caitlin Scott, and Nathan Tesler, who worked together to develop a draft of an ADA web compliance guide that we'll be working to implement. We have until 2028 to fully implement, but made some really good progress on getting a start on this. And so our next step will be to do some trainings this summer, particularly for principals and administrative assistants who populate our website to make sure that we are ADA compliant. And I know that Nina is actually an expert in this area and may tap you to take a look at our progress on that. This year we did a ridiculous number of ribbon cuttings, and so ranging from Foster to our ribbon cutting at the bus depot, the dock, the recent ribbon cutting of the Fred Jewett track, and each one of those was an opportunity to engage with the community, to celebrate the community's progress and support of all of these terrific initiatives. Also wanted to say that other examples of community outreach included doing a jazz ensemble day at the Hingham Center for Active Living. Happy to say that that I do think is now an annual tradition. So we plan to visit the senior center, the Active Living Center again this summer. We opened the farmers market on the weekend after the first day of school. We're on soccer sidelines, so any opportunity we have to engage with the community, we take advantage of those opportunities. Wanted to thank Erica for her terrific work with Harbor Media this year. So we were involved in a number of different programming that the Harbor Media engages in addition to, of course, recording these meetings here. I had the chance to participate in the You the People segments, and so we did a fall, winter, spring episode that's really focused on town governance. But wanted to thank Erica for her work to message the portrait of a learner in the same way that a strategic plan shouldn't live on a shelf. We're really trying to make the portrait of a learner truly part of what it is that we're doing. And so you want to share a bit, Erica, about some of your Portrait of a Learner series?
Yes, it's been really wonderful to partner with Harbor Media on this project. Through the course of this year, we chose to highlight some of our extracurricular activities to highlight the ways that those extracurricular activities support students in developing the competencies that are outlined in our Portrait of a Learner. So the example that you see here is from the Harbor Light newspaper, but we also met with students from the Model UN Club, from the Robotics Club. I'm forgetting who the other ones are now, but
Service Club.
The Service Club. There were
Several.
quite a few of them. And we recently filmed at the K through 12 art show, which that segment should be released, I think, any minute now. And I'm working on a segment that we'll do with the Drama Club. And I think it's been a really meaningful way for kids to reflect on how they are developing these portrait skills through their activities, not only in class, but also extracurriculars.
So thanks for your work on that, Erica. And last but not least, big thank you to Harbor Media for highlighting our music performances and so on. And so if you haven't had a chance to check out our all-town band concert, that one is a perennial favorite, but they have filmed several other of our concerts this year. So thank you to Harbor Media for that. So interestingly, one point of communication survey feedback that we had was for us to consider increasing our contributions to local media. What families explained is that the videos are terrific, but families reported that their habits are they're often looking at something on the soccer sidelines or something. So the video format can actually be a little more challenging, and that they're more likely to go on to a print media like the Anchor. And so I thought that was interesting feedback. And so we did have a significant amount of coverage in the Anchor this year, which we're grateful for, and we do help contribute some articles. But I thought that was important feedback, especially as we're heading into next year. With we know the number of initiatives that we have, and so that's something that we can take a look at. And I know that Social Times, we have had a number of articles in there regarding some of our initiatives and so on. So I thought that was some interesting feedback from the survey. Also wanted to thank Erica for, again, her terrific work on the caregiver conversations. I don't know if Erica, you want to share
So in
anything?
addition to the sessions that I mentioned, we also hosted the evening with Dr. Lisa Demore to talk about her book, The Emotional Lives of Teenagers, and a CyberSense presentation about online safety that was presented by the ADA's office. In addition, the principal newsletters, which again seem to be the most widely read part of our communication, have been including those Swell Pro tips that you can see in the top right corner there to sort of keep mental health at the forefront. We try to do a tip in each of those newsletters so that we can keep focused on that topic.
You're doing another CyberSense this fall too.
That is going to be an annual part of our programming. So we, the last couple of years, have done the family presentation in the spring. And we did that on purpose because many fifth graders get their first phone in the spring. And so that was really our target audience for families with students heading off to the middle school. But got feedback that the spring is just so busy. And also had feedback that, so our students have that very same presentation during the school day at the start of school. And so our new thinking is next year, we'll do the student presentation during the day and do the family presentation at night to front load that at the beginning of the year. And we could always sort of add another tech-related offering for maybe younger families of grade 5 students heading off to middle school in addition to the fall presentation. But I thought that was great feedback, and we'll make that our new practice. So. This next slide here, again, just gives some evidence of some of the community partnerships that we've developed over the years. Hingham Historical, we've enjoyed a really beneficial and rich relationship with. Our
Historical Society interns, we interviewed those two.
Yep. And so in addition to that, again, thinking of our Portrait of a Learner competencies, thinking of other community partners that will help us deepen those. So we have a great partnership with the Cohasset Center for Student Coastal Research. Our arts pathway has developed some new partnerships to help promote that. We have a new business pathway that's coming online. They are working to develop some additional community partnerships. So I do think the Pathways program in particular has given us new angles to explore community partnerships. And as we mentioned, another area of partnership that we have looked to expand is in support of our postgraduate students. So Dr. Panarisi in her presentation mentioned a new partnership that we have with the North River Collaborative that provides some additional community connections for our students. Our Best Buddies and Unified Sports are very much out in the community. So not only playing other schools in the Unified Sports, but also engaging in other activities like the Spring Fling Dance and so on. We have a longstanding partnership with Cardinal Cushing, where the students are able to engage in community events there. And I think I mentioned earlier that one of my favorite parts of the week is when our RISE students and postgrad students come over to Town Hall to engage in some vocational training. And so those are just a few examples of the partnerships we have. Erica, what do you want to take on the service? We've had some really great progress in terms of building structures to support students looking for service.
So this year we combined sort of several service-focused clubs into a larger umbrella organization. And that was one of the interviews that we did with Harbor Media. And in addition, we, Erica Shinney, who is our physical education department coordinator, has done a wonderful job coordinating a community service program for students, which has resulted in 9th and 10th graders logging 2,018 hours of service, which is just a really impressive number. So I want to thank her for her work on that, and thank the students of Hingham High for being really engaged in service work.
And that you do think that in the same way that our pathways students have found community knitting together those different service projects, I think there was a synergy there that was really powerful. So thank you to Sarah Jacobson and Cameron Oslands, who are the chaperones and advisors for the service club. And so, as Tim says, Hingham runs on volunteers. So we have, particularly this time of year, dozens of volunteer opportunities every day. I actually was recently at the East School school assembly, and the PTO at each of those meetings does a kind of a PTO update and has the students participate in. And it's just incredible the amount of work that our PTOs do and our other booster groups. So whether it's Hingham Music Parents, Hingham Sports Partnership, Hingham Education Foundation, we're just very blessed with the amount of community engagement. And then finally, we mentioned some of the opportunities to expand networking events included Erica's great work on the caregiver conversations. But in addition, we have some other opportunities, including engaging with our Metco families. We kick off the year with an ice cream social, most recently hosted the bowling event. We also had great engagement with CPAC this year with Dr. Panarisi, for which we're grateful. And then the PTOs have a number of family engagement events. And so, as I mentioned, next year is going to be a really big year for this communication goal, given that we will have many initiatives to communicate. And so Eric and I do plan to come back to you late summer, early fall with our communication plan for the year that will include all of the communications around our building projects, communication plan around negotiations, communication plan around some of our other initiatives. And again, taking to heart some of the feedback from the communication survey, increasing the cadence of the district communications, increasing the frequency and diversifying topics for print media, which I think was helpful feedback, continuing to improve accessibility and flow of the district website, and continuing to expand and strengthen the community partnerships. Great. Thanks, Ray. All right, second strand is our innovative and responsive teaching and learning. So made some great progress there. Integrating and aligning the Portrait of a Learner competencies with the HPS curriculum. So we did a significant amount of professional development this year for PK to 12 staff to support that implementation, making good progress on creating rubrics and aligning curriculum and assessments to Portrait of a Learner competencies, and thank you to Erica and the directors for that work. And I think of all of these, the ones I'm most proud about, again, is that strengthening and celebrating the existing pathways. It's been really, I think, taking root. We had our existing pathways of GCP, arts, our fledgling tech and engineering pathway, and now we have the business pathway coming online. So students have very much embraced the pathway experience. The last 3 years of the previous strategic plan was all literacy all the time, and this new strategic plan for 25 to 28 is going to be all math all the time. So in addition to our pilot, which took place this year for Bridges, not only for our general education classrooms, but also our intervention materials for MTSS and for special education. There was a significant amount of professional development that went into that. And we did begin the work of communicating the Bridges implementation to our families, and that work will really begin in earnest in year 2. And then this year completed our partnership with Hingham Foundation with regard to the grade 6-12 thinking classrooms in mathematics. So all secondary mathematics classrooms have now been outfitted with the Thinking Classrooms furnishings, and all grade 6 to 12 math teachers have engaged in robust professional development around that. The next initiative, I do think, is an area that we've made some progress, but we'll really so grateful for Dr. Panarisi and her vision and her terrific collaboration to strengthen student services and special education programming. And so we'll continue to align to the entry plan that she presented for student services and special education with a particular focus on articulating, strengthening, and expanding specialized programs and refining entry and exit criteria. And then I do think Dr. Panarisi and Erica and our curriculum directors have made great progress in building a bridge between general education and special education and our related service providers to foster inclusion and to look at our multisensory literacy instruction, co-teaching. Those that work has made some good strides. And then finally, wanted to thank Erica. Do you want to take this one on?
Yes. So one of our goals was to take a look at our schedule structures and consider whether our current schedules, particularly at the secondary level, are serving the goals that we want to achieve with our students. So we were able to convene 2 committees this year, one at the high school and one at the middle school, to consider possible changes to school schedules. At the high school, we did a site visit to Silver Lake to take a look at the Flex Block program that they've implemented there. So I was really happy to see the middle school students present about the Flex Block because it's near and dear to my heart. We are hopeful that we will make a little more progress on that in the next year and potentially pilot something new.
Was it their high school or middle school?
High school.
High school.
And when it comes to implementing a flex block, as the students very aptly pointed out, it's not something that we can just do, right? There's a lot of things to consider. Silver Lake is a different school from Hingham High School, and one of the things that one of the differences is that they generally don't share staff between their high school and middle school, which we do, and that makes scheduling things just that tiny bit trickier. But I think we're on a good path to figuring it out.
I think we're very optimistic about a fall pilot and
Yes.
look forward to sharing that with you in the fall.
Awesome.
All right, so again, just some visual evidence of the second round of initiatives. So the Portrait of a Learner, of which many of you participated in its development, I do think it's being lived. That poster is in every classroom across town. We have tried to message it any way we can, whether through newsletters, the Harbor Media segments, and so on. And we'll continue to message that. Eric, you want to focus on the pathways?
Yes. So as Katie mentioned a minute ago, we've had our global citizenship pathway for quite a few years now. And our arts pathway for both visual arts and music have really attracted a lot of students who I think are finding these pathways to be a really positive way to build community around a shared interest. The technology and engineering pathway has also done a great job. And one of the things that I particularly enjoy about seeing the student projects at the end of the year is without anybody asking them to do so, there's a clear alignment with our Portrait of a Learner that these pathways are teaching students these skills. And so when I went to the first ever presentations by our business pathway students this year, they did an amazing job, and they had really explicitly connected their portfolio. It was structured like our Portrait of a Learner, where they really reflected on how their experiences in business classes and through internships had helped them develop those Portrait of a Learner skills. So that is an area where I would like to tighten up that connection moving forward. It's not really about developing something new. It's about recognizing and celebrating what's already happening in these programs in a more systematized way.
Great. So again, very successful pilot of bridges this year, and proud of the work that we did with Hingham Ed Foundation to outfit our secondary mathematics classrooms through building thinking classrooms. So we recently heard Dr. Panarisi's presentation regarding her entry plan, and we'll continue to partner with her on that. And so in terms of our year 2 priorities, continuing to make progress on all of the teaching and learning initiatives, but most especially the Bridges adoption. It is a heavy lift to roll it out across the district, but the math team is well prepared for that. We'll continue to integrate the Portrait of a Learner competencies and strengthen the Pathways programs. But next year's work, I do think a lot of it will focus on that continued focus on special education program improvements, using that entry plan finding as a guide. And again, our most fervent goal next year, our fervent hope rather, is to pilot a flex block at the high school, and are eager to get started with that work. Okay, third strand includes healthy, equitable, and inclusive communities. And so for that, we explored and implemented SEL initiatives to promote social emotional well-being, which included exploring and implementing pre-K to 12 SEL curriculum, developing and strengthening our SEL multi-tiered system of support. I will say that in terms of our secondary SEL MTSS, a lot of that is centered on the flex block. And so I do consider that more of a year 2 goal. And then finally, looking to continue to refine our HHS advisory, and we did make some progress on that this year. Refining the district's approach to technology integration and renewing that commitment to digital citizenship. Again, wanted to thank Erica for her work with the directors on that. Did you want to take that one on?
Yes. The first caregiver conversation that we held in the fall was about technology, digital citizenship, digital safety, and putting that together provided a nice opportunity for me to take a look at that pre-K through 12 perspective and really take stock of what we're teaching students at the various levels about their digital citizenship and online safety. And I want to say that our digital literacy teachers at the elementary level have done a really nice job of developing a series of lessons and activities for students that are engaging and also promote good digital citizenship as well as good technology tools. The question about the role of technology and how much we should be using technology is a perennial one, and it's been in the news a lot. One of the things that I'm very excited about for the Bridges program is that it is a technology-free program. So that is going to allow us to scale back the use of devices in our elementary classrooms, which I think is really positive. I don't know that we will ever be in a place where we're not using technology in the classroom at all, but we want to be purposeful about why we're using it, and always clear about what the goal is. And then the other major technology-focused initiative this year was our AI handbook for students and for teachers, helping to outline what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and helping students to develop healthy and appropriate skills around the use of AI.
And so next up is our analysis of enrollment trends. So the school committee has had several presentations with regard to enrollment. Again, we were pleased to share with the committee that our enrollment has stabilized after a period of decline following COVID, and we do anticipate, based on our NESDEC enrollment study, an uptick. That has been mirrored by our school attending report, which shares the private school data of where our students are. And so our enrollment study and the school attending report did mirror each other. So we are in the process of beginning surveys and exit interviews for families who will be choosing a private school. So that will be very much a summer project. And I do think that we will continue to message and advertise our HPS programming and strengths. So whether it's presentations like our terrific students tonight or Harbor Media presentations on Portrait of a Learner, as part of those enrollment trends, continuing to message all of the terrific things happening in our schools. And so again, in terms of our SEL initiatives, we have continued to evaluate our social emotional curriculum using the CASEL framework. and wanted to highlight one initiative in particular. The Swell programming at the high school has been extremely successful, and we have taken some of the Swell tenets and integrated it into our freshman advisory, which has been a nice step forward in progress on those social emotional goals. Erica mentioned that under the digital citizen front, our emphasis on the AI guide for students and for staff has been very well received and will become now part of our annual practice. Have done other initiatives such as our digital safety newsletter for families. Again, we did it this spring, but I think pulling that up to the fall would actually be better timing, so we will do that.
And in connection with the AI guide, I want to emphasize that it really is the teachers who are doing the work in the classrooms every day of setting expectations, teaching students how to use technology in an effective and ethical way. I can write guidelines for them, but it's the teachers that really have made it come alive for students, and they deserve a lot of credit for the work that they've done around AI.
Thanks, Erica. Next up, again, enrollment study you are more than familiar with. Thank you. And so our year 2 priorities for strand 3 include building on those wellness initiatives, including the SEL curriculum refinements, piloting hopefully some SEL supports during that secondary flex block, and continued focus on the equitable and inclusive nature of our special education programming, and continuing to monitor the enrollment trends, including conducting surveys and focus groups of private school families. Strand 4, capital and finance. And again, this is a strand that the school committee is very familiar with and engaged in. So we might not need to provide as much evidence for this strand. But we this year did try to focus on messaging our needs in different forums than we have in the past. So in addition to our traditional newsletters, we partnered with the PTOs to get out into the school buildings to message our budget needs. And so we'll definitely continue that process in the future. This year, we also did staff-focused budget presentations, which is not something that had been done before. It was really well received, well attended as well. It was optional for staff to come, and they were very well received. So we'll continue that practice in the future as well. One group that I'm realizing that we haven't had as much FaceTime with regard to budget are our students. So I did have a chance when I was working with our grade students on town meeting, trying to work in some budget conversations there. But that's one area in terms of our stakeholders, the students themselves, would like for them to be more knowledgeable about our budget process. And so in terms of other partnership, of course, developing our partnership with the Town Advisory Committee and Select Board, working with the Sustainable Budget Task Force, so we can both advocate for district needs and also consider the sustainability, and then exploring revenue sources. Collaborating with area districts for potential cost sharing for special education programming, transportation, and professional development. We have actually made some progress on that front. We'll be tuitioning in at least one student next year into our specialized programming, which is a first. And so that's something we want to take a slow and thoughtful approach to, but at least now have begun those conversations. And Erica is working with the directors to continue to implement the program review cycle. Wanted to say a special thank you to Andy Hoy, who piloted our newly refined program review process, which is much more goal-focused and streamlined than prior years. And so again, that goal is very much in progress. So in terms of the evidence, again, no need to spend too much time on this because you have lived it all budget season, but did a lot of messaging around our 5-year capital plan, operational master plan, in particular with regard to some of our facilities needs. Our analyzing and strengthening department programs, again, that shout out to Andy Hoy. But we're not only reviewing our curriculum programs, but also some of our other departments. And so you'll be seeing transportation coming up soon, some of the other departments that fall under the business and operations department. And so in terms of our year 2 priorities for capital and finance, continuing those partnerships with stakeholders and messaging the budget needs and priorities, including the MSBA building projects in preparation for town meeting. This summer, the Sustainable Budget Task Force work will really be heating up as we look at our financial models and out-year projections. We will also next year be preparing for negotiations, and very grateful that we currently are enjoying a very collaborative and productive working relationship with our union, have had great success with our joint labor management, and so I'm optimistic for a collaborative approach for negotiations, and we continue to explore revenue sources. And last but not least, we have Strand 5, Human Resources and Leadership. Many thanks to Mary Ann Foley, our Director of Human Resources, and her team, who have been hard at work really refining some of our staff resources, forms, and contacts. So she redesigned the HR webpage. We're in the process of upgrading our employee self-service portal. Working with HR to recruit and retain a highly qualified and culturally diverse workforce. So Mary Ann and her team host and participate in hiring fairs, develop recruiting materials. We were able this year to implement a digital applicant tracking. Before we were drowning in paper. It's become a much more efficient process. So grateful to Mary Ann and her team for that. We have explored and expanded our university partnerships, and so which will support us in partnering with teacher prep programs as we're seeking to recruit and retain highly qualified staff. And finally, we have provided some opportunities for current students to explore education careers. We do, in fact, have a number of former Hingham students on staff currently, and hope to model for them what education careers might look like in their future. Strengthening HR and payroll functions. We have made some progress here. We have, as I mentioned, that digital onboarding process, which has really streamlined and made more efficient our processes. Some of the other automated processes and digital processes include our evaluation system. We are now using a digital evaluation tool. Before, again, we were drowning in paper. Mary Ann and her team have established some standard operating procedures and manuals. So in the event that staff turns over, we have that historical knowledge memorialized, which is really important. And both Aisha Opong, our business director, and Mary Ann Foley have had an emphasis on cross-training staff. So if there's staff turnover or staff are out for a variety of reasons, making sure we have that cross-training. And then finally, continuing to work to develop leadership pathways for our staff. And so Erica and I both have been reaching out to staff members who are interested in future leadership, inviting them to leadership meetings, providing other opportunities for them to explore what leadership is like either at the building level or at the central office level. We do now have a mentoring program for new leaders that come on board. Before, we primarily had a mentoring program for educators, but it is important that new leaders receive mentoring. And we have hosted some administrative internships for those educators who are seeking to earn their administrator license. So year 2 priorities include continuing to digitize and automate HR and central office functions. In addition to the upgraded employee self-service portal, We will be rolling out a new digital absence management program, which syncs with our Munis program, and will make that will really help us with payroll and being more efficient. Continue that training, cross training of central office staff, and continuing to expand the leadership exploration opportunities. We've been a little busy, much there to be proud of, and have some clear paths ahead for what's next for the strategic plan.
Well, thank you, Katie and Erica. This has been a wealth of information. I know for me personally, and with Carrie, probably when we worked on this strategic plan, it's really exciting to see all the work that's done just in 1 year after when we were working on those goals to that strategic plan, especially around the contributions to local media and the communication and the community partnerships. I remember really talking about wanting that community partnership and that goal, and it's really exciting to see all that you've done just in the first year. So I will offer this time for anyone on the committee that has any questions or comments.
Just to echo that too, the consultant who helped us with this plan and then the previous one had remarked she was shocked at how much progress we made on the first one, and it's really nice to see it continue. So congratulations to everyone. Just a quick thing about, I love the idea of contributing more to the Anchor and local press, not just to reach parents, but also people outside of the school community, because we're going to need their support for everything we have going forward. And then just you discussed was communication and what a busy year it is next year. We have a lot going on. Maybe this is probably not a discussion for now, but maybe to put on another agenda. We used to do some school committee updates, so we would update during our meetings and just kind of send something out to families afterwards and with minute markers so they could see what the discussions if they're interested. We haven't really done that in a while, so we maybe talk about if we want to do that. So because we can contribute to the communications too.
Thank you.
Tim?
Yeah, I've always have mixed feelings about these big presentations. There's the work that you do, and then there's sort of the accountability and transparency piece. And all of the time it takes to do these reports is time you're not doing the actual work that you're reporting on. So I appreciate the effort very much. And if anything, Dr. Panarisi isn't here to toot her own horn, so I kind of want to toot her own for her. And just talking about. I think we've almost undersold the work that special education has done this year and done more. Part of the North River was in the presentation, but there's like the landmark partnership and all sorts of, the partnership, real work that she's doing with the communication piece. One big piece for next year is transitioning over to EdPlan, which has a parent communication log, will increase sort of a lot of the accountability with communication with parents and allow for eventually digital signing of IEPs and sort of the communication piece. I think that's a part of the picture of switching the special education from the program we're currently using, which I forget, Aspen, thank you, to that. And just the work that she's done in terms of communication. She meets monthly with the CPAC co-chairs. She is a regular presence at CPAC meetings, which I don't know of another district that necessarily does that. So I just wanted to say that she's done a fantastic job with that this year.
Terrific. Thanks, Tim. And again, I appreciate that the general education and special education silos. I do think we're making some really great progress there. So thank you.
Anyone else? No? All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Great presentation. All right. Does anybody have an objection if I move 8.5 up on the agenda?
I'll go for it.
We have two people online that probably would appreciate it.
And I just want to give if you move them up, a shout out to Brian and to Mrs. Crook for participating in your communication strategy with their band talk. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but you should all follow it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great.
So 8.5 is to discuss 2 student trips to New York City in April of 2027.
Terrific. So, Sherry, if you'd like to elevate, you could elevate Brian. And
hi, everyone. This is Laura Mallerby. I'm here from home.
Hey, Laura. Why don't we do Laura's? Let's do Laura's Laura and Phaedra's trip first. So Laura, do you want to just give a quick rundown of your trip?
Yeah, sure. I'm really excited to hopefully launch a trip to New York City focusing on Black and Latino history and culture, visiting, Spanish Harlem, visiting the Museo del Barrio, really trying to give a different lens of this New York City trip that we, if traditionally so many of us have been to all of the phenomenal, aspects that New York offers, like Rockefeller and the Met and a Broadway show, all of those things would still be included as well, but really focusing on, visiting the Tenement Museum and the Underground Railroad tour. So I'm here tonight with Amy Jackson, our HPS Met co-director as well, and we're collaborating on this together to offer this trip to our students, grades 9 through 12 for the next school year, April 16th to 19th of 2027.
Is that April vacation? Is that?
Yeah, it's Friday through Monday.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
It's a great trip.
Yeah, we're excited for you.
Awesome.
It looks
There's-
like a great trip.
Yeah.
There are also
Thank
lots
you.
of local Boston opportunities to expand that with the Black Heritage Trail and the Museum on Joy Street and Beacon Hill, if that, to get to a comparison would be an idea.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you, Amy. It sounds like a really enriching trip. I appreciate it.
All right. If nobody has any more questions or comments, I'll take a motion.
Okay. I will make a motion to approve the field trip for Hingham High School to New York City on April 16th through 19th, 2027.
Second.
All right. All those in favor by roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Trip is approved. Enjoy.
Great. And next up, we have Brian Sincata and Phaedra Sassano to present their trip.
Hi, everybody. The band and orchestra travels every year somewhere. We spent a great weekend in Nashville this past year. Next year, the rotation of our trips is to New York City. So April 1st through 4th, we'll be taking the band and orchestra students to New York. We have three kind of major activities that we're excited to participate in. We're going to take the students to Lincoln Center to see a performance by world famous solo violinist Hilary Hahn. We'll also be attending a concert at Jazz at Lincoln Center. It's the 100th anniversary John Coltrane concert that they're doing, a tribute concert, which we're really excited about. And we have started the tradition over the last several New York trips that Brian and I have done together, where we take the Hingham High School band and orchestra students to Juilliard, one of the most famous music schools, of course, in the world. And they have a high school division that produces student recitals, and they're all throughout the day on Saturdays in the spring, and our students will get to go and sort of pick which recitals they want to attend. They might be a clarinet recital, a piano recital, a cello recital, and then our students sort of pick 2 out of 3 or 4 that are happening that afternoon to see someone their own age presenting on that level of music, and it's really a fantastic experience for them. We have other additional exciting activities on our agenda as well. Going to see some art museums this year, and the drama department will be presenting, their itinerary separately once that's all settled in. But we are traveling the same weekend as Maureen Fish for the drama club, and hopefully we'll be able to combine as much as possible for activities outside of our, music or drama specific ticketed events. So we can stay at the same hotel. We can have meals together at different food halls. We can perhaps attend museums together. So we're excited to make it sort of a larger arts community experience next year. Brian and I have known each other for about 20 years now, and I've run at least 13 trips. This is our 13th trip coming up through Grand Classroom. So we're excited to work with them again, as we always are. And we've got a really good system down. So yeah, we're excited to offer it.
Thank you. Sounds like
Brian,
a
do you
great
have anything
trip.
to add?
Does anyone have any questions? No, we don't have any questions for you. So with that, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to approve the Hingham High School trip for band and orchestra to New York City on April 1st through April 4th, 2027.
Second.
Great. All those in favor, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina? Aye. Matt? Aye. Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Enjoy your trip.
Thanks you all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Phaedra.
Something too.
Is Jackie waiting for anything?
I don't think so.
Okay, we will go back to 8.3, which is to receive an enrollment update.
Thank you. So as you would anticipate this time of year, we don't see a significant number of changes in our enrollment. So no change to pre-K, -1 for K to 5, no change for middle school. We do often see some continued changes in our post-grad students age out. And so we are -3, but we are noting for next year some continued move-ins. And so that, to be honest, at this time of year is the data that we're monitoring most closely. And so this summer we'll provide an update for the school committee as some of our move-ins settle down. We'll provide updates for the next year's enrollment.
How is the the kindergarten enrollment coming?
The kindergarten enrollment is coming. What it always surprises us is some of the grades 1 to 5 enrollment is much more challenging to predict, and we seem to have certain neighborhoods that we're having more move-ins than others. And so the kindergarten enrollment is as predicted. It's those grades 1 to 5 that are much more challenging to predict. And so we've had some movement there that we're monitoring closely.
Interesting. Great. Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Nope. All right. We will move on to 8.4, which is to receive an update on the superintendent's school progress.
Terrific. Well, as you would expect and notice, there is a significant amount of overlap in the superintendent goals and the strategic plan. And so I don't want to be overly redundant. So this document here really just presents a lot of the information that was previously shared in a more written form. But I would like you to note that hyperlinked off this document is a rich variety of resources, so you can take a deeper dive into any of the area of interest. So as I mentioned, the next 3 years of the strategic plan, we are going to be laser-like focused on math. And so just provide some additional evidence with regard to our Bridges pre-K to 5 math curriculum program. So I mentioned the year-long professional development, our excitement not only about the general education Tier 1 instructional materials, but also the intervention materials for our MTSS and special educators. The work being done on pacing guides so we can hit the ground running next year. Also wanted to note the work of our team to update the report card standards. So that has been a big project as we prepare for our adoption next year. And really my role as superintendent has been not only to support those elements, but have been trying to support the instruction by engaging in a lot of classroom walkthroughs. So most of my walkthroughs this year with the elementary principals were focused on visits to our pilot classrooms to get a sense of how the program is being lived, and grateful to the pilot teachers for being so welcoming, not only to me, but also to Erica. Erica also helped participate in the PLC's meetings where the curriculum discussions and were taking place. And so both Erica and I would then meet with our building principals and kind of tie the pilot to our data. The school committee has already seen our beginning of year and middle of year MTSS data presentations. I just wanted to note with the snow days this year, our end of year data, the end of year is a lot later than usual. So we are nearly done gathering our end of year data, but I will make sure that you have a copy of that presentation in hand well before we present it, just so you have that final piece of evidence. One exciting piece, I know that Tim had mentioned earlier that we were so excited to see the progress made on literacy data. It's really too early to make too many predictions about the data with regard to the pilot, because only a small subset of classes were doing that. But we did in particular note at the middle of year that progress towards annual growth for grades 3 to 5 was really much stronger than last year. And so I thought that was a good early indicator of the strength of this program. And again, as soon as we get that end of year data, we'll share that out with the committee so you can dig into that. And we do plan to present that at the July meeting. Also wanted to note that what the school committee receives is district level data, but really for us, the interesting work is drilling down at the school level into school data, individual class cohort data. And so Erica and the team has been very involved in that. And then this year we made sure that we were messaging our shared vision early and often. And so not only did we highlight Bridges on social media and district newsletters, we also organized some demos. So we went out to the All-Town PTO meeting, and our math specialist actually went through a mock lesson. I think, Jen, were you there for that? You might have been. Anyway, so we that was well received by the PTOs. We also presented Bridges updates to Hingham Ed Foundation, and so next year we'll really work on messaging this program to our families with regular newsletters and updates. So that was the student learning goal. The next goal on page 2 relates to the professional practice goal. And for that professional practice goal, that is demonstrating how individuals are furthering their own professional practice. And so given that I am a year 2 superintendent, I did participate in year 2 of the new superintendent induction program through MASS. So in addition to my weekly coaching sessions with my all-star mentor, Brookline Superintendent Bella Wong, I also participated in monthly meetings with the year 2 cohort. I will say that we saw a significant amount of attrition in our cohort, and grateful for the continued partners that I have in our cohort. In addition to engaging in NSIP, though, I took advantage of all of the other terrific offerings that MASS had for superintendents. And so participating in the Social Superintendent Roundtable, the Mass Summer Institute for Superintendents, the CASE Conference, Winter and Spring convenings, METCO Superintendent Professional Development, the DESE Superintendent sessions with the Commissioner, sessions with the South Shore Collaborative, also engaged in some negotiations training and preparation for our negotiations next year. And I'd say one of the most valuable professional developments that Erica and I attended this year, we attended the NESPRA Professional Development, which is the New England School PR Association, all about communications. People are so generous with their materials. Boston Public Schools presented and basically shared all of their crisis communications, a really collegial group. And so I do think that will be something that will be annual for us. And of course, the learning was shared with our leadership team. So each meeting we'd attend, we'd bring back new ideas and learnings for our leadership team to help continue to drive the strategic plan. So next year, the year 3 of NSIP is more of a consultancy model where our cohort will get together monthly. And so I'll, in addition to that, continue the engagement in some of the other professional development that I mentioned. Moving on to page 3, the effective two-way communication. This is very redundant with the strategic plan that I just presented. I'm happy to review any of it again, but wanted to just say that this is probably one of the most important goals that we have. And knowing that next year we have such a big year ahead, coming back to you late summer or early fall with that 26-27 communication plan. Again, I appreciate the partnership of the school committee in that effective two-way communication, both in echoing some of the district messages and helping us to contemplate new ways to engage to the community in different forums. Our next district improvement goal relates to the strengthening of MTSS and special education. So I mentioned that in our last 3-year strategic plan, we had a laser-like focus on MTSS and really built a very robust system, particularly for elementary. The next frontier for us will be continuing to build out MTSS at the secondary level. FlexBlock will be a major part of that. And so I do anticipate that being a big part of the work ahead. And I will say that in special education is going to continue to be a major area of focus, working with Dr. Panarisi on her entry plan. And wanted to say that continuing that relationship with CPAC, the relationships with Landmark, New England Center for Children, and Left Side Strong, continuing those strengthening of relationships between general education and special education, continuing to build out the literacy practices, the math practices, and communicating with all stakeholders the improvements that we're making. And so Dr. Panarisi does weekly newsletters for staff, out in schools weekly for site visits, walkthroughs, weekly admin check-ins, monthly team chair meetings, but she's also been public facing, whether that be through attending IEP meetings, attending CPAC functions, and so continuing that work next year. I mentioned as a next step next year, we are excited to be onboarding a new assistant director that will help provide some additional structures and supports for our staff. Working on that digital special education workflow that Tim mentioned earlier. I will add that Aspen actually does have some additional tools that we had been underutilizing in the special education front, and so we will be looking at that. Continuing our emphasis on professional development and strengthening community relationships. For goals, District Improvement Goal 3. There is an Irish saying, may the roof above us never fall in and those beneath it never fall out. Roofs will be a major focus for us next year, as well as our HVAC heat pump system. And that work is very much underway in that we have begun to work in earnest with our MSBA partners, our new school building committee, our municipal partners, and are making great progress on our schematic design phase of the Plymouth River and South School roof projects and the high school heat pump HVAC and roof project. There are actually a number of staff at the HHS today doing some surveying for that roof project. And we are this summer going to be working to prepare for that fall town meeting for the Plymouth River and South School roofs, and simultaneously making sure that we have emergency plans to keep our buildings safe and afloat while we're working on the larger pending MSBA projects. And so as we did this year, we plan to continue to host facilities tours for school committee, AdCom, select board, and local governance academy. We'll continue to collaborate with the director of facilities, Matt Meehan, and executive director of business, Aisha Opong, to provide regular facilities updates to the school committee, as we did this year. And continuing to message facilities needs in any forum that we can, whether it be newsletter, social media, print media, et cetera. And so much work ahead on that strand. And last but not least, this is again very redundant with the strategic plan, that HR and payroll processes improvements. We, as I mentioned previously, we're a district that was very much paper-based in its processes. Thrilled to say we have made some great progress in digitizing our processes, which is particularly important because it's such a lean team. We have a very small HR, payroll, accounting, and business operations department. So becoming more efficient through these digital tools is incredibly important. In addition to some of the payroll HR side, I also wanted to thank Erica for her work this year in implementing a new digital tool, TeachPoint, for our educator evaluation system that's allowed for greater efficiency and transparency, and working to continue to cross-train staff and develop the standard operating procedures. So those are, again, really the strategic plan written in a slightly different form for your review.
Any questions? All right. So tomorrow morning, you'll receive an email from me that will have the rubric for the evaluation of the superintendent. It will look very similar to what she has presented here. So this will be one of the tools that you'll use with the eval. And I will just point out that if you look at the district improvement goal, you'll see the evidence, the spokes, the communication and the shared vision, and then the engagement. Those are what your one section of the evaluation is what you're reviewing her on. Even if there's 5 in that category, you're only evaluating on those specific ones. Because you'll notice at the top of the evaluation, it says superintendent should identify 1 to 2 focus indicators per standard. So we're not evaluating on every single one individually. But I'll send an email similar to what went out last year. And then I'm always available for questions if anyone needs help, especially anyone who's doing it for the first time, because I remember doing this for the first time and it was a little overwhelming. So even the second time.
I think I did all the indicators the first time.
Yeah, I think so.
Recommend it.
Which, yeah. So thank you very much for presenting that. Appreciate it. If there's no more questions from anyone, we will move on to 8.6, which is to review some new policies, and I'll pass that along to Ally.
Thank you. Back for more. These are all first reads, and as you can see, we're trying to get through a lot of policies before we look at the handbooks, just so we have them updated and in process so that we can have consistency across the handbooks and our policies as we're reviewing things. So there are 2 related to homeschooling. One, IHBG is the first one. This was updated just because there had been some questions in regards to students who are homeschooled and the ability to then come to the high school and take classes. So if you look at the bottom paragraph, as I open it, my computer's a little slow tonight. The bottom paragraph, we did suggest some changes just about how that would work and how a student would get approval from the superintendent and how many classes they could then take at the high school.
Was this run by council?
No, it has not been. I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make sure.
I'm not sure if we can do that or like limit people to one class or not.
We did some benchmarking. We're a wild outlier in offering broad access. One of the challenges becomes if a homeschool student is requesting to take, say, 2 or 3 classes that are spaced out over the course of the day.
Yeah.
The supervision piece between classes becomes challenging, and they essentially become full-time students.
Yep.
And so in our benchmarking with other districts, again, we were pretty wild outliers in not having any restrictions on it. So again, full access to all extracurriculars. It's just the daytime access to courses that becomes challenging to manage just from a student supervision standpoint. If they are popping in throughout the day for several courses, where are they in between? So
Can we just check and make sure legally it's okay?
absolutely happy to do that.
We will run that by legal counsel. And I know Katie did do a lot of work and research on what other districts were doing, just because we had, as you can see from the paragraph that is crossed out, we had a very open-ended policy, not just for taking classes, but also extracurriculars and sports. And so it did make for some potential liability and accountability, for the school with these students, and also kind of towed the line of balancing if you're a homeschool student, then how much time are you actually spending in the high school, and are you a high school student or middle school student? So trying to balance that and, remember that there are still community members and members of our district, but giving first precedence to the students actually at the high school too. So yeah, so that is the first one. This is a first read. The second policy is a procedure that correlates with this. However, was long ago recommended to be removed from our policy manual, and we just had never gotten there. So that is in there for you to review, but is a recommendation to remove that related procedure.
Who recommended removal? Mask?
Amazing.
Okay.
Yep. And it was several years ago. We just haven't done some cleanup. And then the third one is JKAA. This is timeout, seclusion, and physical restraint of students. There has been, unfortunately, a lot of news articles related to other districts in regards to this. This is a DESE update that they have made to, or suggestions that they have made, and a rewrite from MASC that they are suggesting. We do need to have this in place by, Katie, is it August 17th?
17th, August 17th or 18th, yes.
Yes, so we're putting this on for a first read now, and then hopefully we'll have a second read at our next meeting, but it is a requirement and it does follow all Mass General Law and updated regulations.
If it's a requirement, can we talk about the wording of parts of it, or? I mean, I don't know.
We can, yeah.
Is the requirement that we rubber stamp it, or?
Well,
What I'm going at is,
if it's a specific, if the language is in Mass General Law, we have to keep that language in
Okay.
there. But
is the word
I'm not saying
calming in
this
Mass General
all is
Law?
in there. Say that, which
is
one?
the word, the focus on calm in Mass General Law?
Well, we can pick
Pull up
on
the Mass
the,
General Law.
Reasonable
I'll let
students
you
are often energetic and not calm, and it seems like it should be centered on emotional regulation and physical safety as opposed to being calm. I don't know. That just seems. I don't know if that's a problem that I have with Mass General Law that can't be fixed here, or.
Sure, we can take a look at that. And I will also say that some of the DESE guidance, we could cross-reference that
Okay.
language as well, so.
Yeah, I just don't love the word calm. It's
Sure.
like calm down. And I was wondering if, and not in terms of timeout, but in terms of seclusion and restraint, if there should be a piece on attempts at de-escalation have been unsuccessful, or some wording, something worded sort of focusing on de-escalation.
So in addition to the policy, DESE is also going to be coming out with some resources related to procedures.
Right.
And so that
Maybe more procedure.
that might be
Okay.
more procedure. And in addition to that, they'll also be coming out with some additional resources with regard to the documentation piece as well. So they've been promised the procedure pieces have been promised kind of early July from DESE. We do have some early drafts. Dr. Panarisi attended a recent professional development at Social Educational Collaborative, and they shared some preliminary documents that we can use, but that work will begin in earnest in July when we have the DESE
Okay.
materials. So,
Okay. That's a line I might explore a little bit.
sure.
Yes, we can definitely explore it and make sure.
that's why we do 2 reads.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
So we will look into that, and then if anyone has any other questions, we can answer them now, but we'll also look at it again in July.
Any questions?
And just to note, as Katie mentioned, there has been ongoing trainings involved with this, and there will, once this is finalized, continue to be trainings for all the employees and staff.
I don't see any hands up, so we will thank you, Ally, for explaining all that. And we will do our second read in July 13th. So next up is 8.7, which is to appoint a school committee member to the 2017 and 2025 school building committee and next appropriate. And this can be 2 separate people. It doesn't have to be the same person.
Not it.
So we do have someone who's interested in joining the 2017 School Building Committee to replace Michelle.
How many
That
more
committee,
meetings do they have?
that committee is still going strong, but they meet once a month. They are available online. Nina has expressed interest to fill that void for us, so I appreciate that. Hopefully it will be 6 to 9 months. Maybe it should, I think they'll be wrapping it up.
Yes, the major project underway right now is the softball field, so that will be some discussion around that and just some punch list items. But the building is obviously substantially complete, but just have some additional, particularly some outside work that we weren't able to complete last season. So thank you for taking that on.
Yeah, no problem.
So we will do two motions tonight. We'll do 2017 first, and then we'll discuss the next one. So I'll take a motion for appointing 2017.
I will make the motion to appoint Nina Villanova to the 2017 School Building Committee.
Second.
All right, all those in favor by roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Congratulations, Nina.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and next is we need to appoint someone to the 2025 School Building Committee. I'm interested. If no one else is interested.
That's all you do.
I've been
I think you've been doing a great job so far.
I have been attending all the meetings, so I'm pretty up to speed. Just haven't been a voting member, and this would make me a voting member.
That's great.
So if anyone else wants to duke it out,
I'm happy to make a motion.
we can make a motion.
I will make a motion to appoint Jen Benham to the 2025 School Building Committee.
Second.
All right, all those in favor by roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. All right, next we have is 8.8, which is to discuss the extended school year staffing rates.
Thank you. So Business Director Aisha Opong placed a memo in the packet that basically proposes an increase of 3% year over year from last year's ESY positions. And for the public, ESY stands for Extended School Year.
Okay.
And as Aisha is known to do, she did put the proposed motion at the bottom of the memo. So I am not as good about that as she is.
It's so helpful.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Anyone online have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I will take a motion.
I will make a motion to approve an increase in the extended school year rates effective July 1, 2026.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Motion passes. Thank you. All right. Next, we have approved grants and donations. Looks like we don't have any. So we will move on to surplus, and it looks like we have one surplus. Just want to make sure we don't have anything.
That's a copier.
Yeah, so two Rico copiers, both in East School. So
You want it?
I'm always willing to ask the dumb question.
That's a good question.
Any questions on the end of life repairs? All right, seeing none, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to declare surplus items listed above and to authorize the Executive Director of Business and Support Services to dispose of them at the least cost to Hingham.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Nina?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
Allie?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Surplus is approved. All right. Next, we have questions and comments. This is the part of our meeting where we open up to the public to ask any questions on or make any comments on items unrelated to our agenda. So if there's anyone in the audience, I see none in the audience. Is there anyone online that has any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we will move on to subcommittee and project reports.
Quick update, we did have a abbreviated SNAP board meeting, the final one of the year. And it was right before a scholarship a little banquet, or not banquet, meeting with the 5 scholarship awardees. Really nice event.
That's nice.
I don't have anything. There was a CPAC meeting, but I was unable to attend.
I had the pleasure of attending the 3rd grade town meeting that Katie mentioned earlier. And I just wanted, there were 2 school committee specific
Yeah.
warrant articles. What?
I said, Nina, you were there too, right?
Yeah.
So fun.
And so they advocated for a longer recess time and a change to the homework policy. So figured I'd bring that to the committee. And just a shout out to the League of Women Voters and the Hingham Historical Society too, because it's as well as the teachers and the staff. The kids did a great job, and it's a lot to put together. So.
That's great.
So the Hingham Middle School Council met last week, and salary negotiations is meeting on Wednesday, and then again with the union on the 25th.
Great. Thank you. Allie?
Thank you for bearing with all of our policy updates lately. Nina and Tim, I will reach out. We are looking to do an early August Zoom meeting, and I will give you some potential dates. I just have been slow to do so. And climate action also has been slow to meet, as you all recall, just to give you the amusing update, that at town meeting, an extra person was added to the committee that has taken some administrative effort, and so we've been unable to meet since town meeting.
All right, we were supposed to appoint you too, aren't we? Do we have to appoint?
Yes, once they actually
Okay.
are able to do so.
Okay. All right. I have, we have Sustainable Budget Task Force. We're meeting this Thursday, I believe.
Is it this Thursday? It might be.
It is.
Let
I
me
think it's
double
right
check.
before. I think it's right before the middle school event. I think it's 8 a.m. And then 2025 Building Committee, I attended on Zoom their meeting last week, and they started going over those 3 different types of heat pumps, explaining that. So that was really interesting. And then they have another meeting. Aisha's not here. She usually is here to tell me the date. It's next week, I believe. But I'll be there when the next
Whenever
meeting
it
is. Whenever it is. And there are warrants in your packet. Our next meeting is July 13th at 6:30. And then Monday, August 17th at 6:30. At this time, it's not looking like we're going to need that Zoom meeting on July 2nd.
It's looking like we will not do that meeting on July 2nd.
And next up is to adjourn. So I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All those in favor to adjourn. Roll call vote. John.
Aye.
Nina. Aye. Matt.
Aye.
Tim.
Aye.
Carrie.
Aye.
Allie.
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.